All right, St. John's and everybody else that's tuned into my show right now, thank you for keeping it locked. And right now, I actually have the pleasure to be joined here today with the five-man vocal group based out of Cleveland, Ohio. But I actually have Ty Trax and Q on the line with me today. Hello?
What's going on, baby? What's happening, baby?
Hey, what's happening? What's going on with you guys? Welcome to the show.
Good to be here, man. Thanks for having us.
Not a problem. So let's get started. Half Mile Home is a five-man vocal crew with the history in R&B. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. Why don't you tell me and my listeners how you guys came together and what does Half Mile Home mean?
All right. Well, this is Q, and we've been together as a group for about 10 years, almost a decade now. And like you said, we did start off in R&B. We had a group by the name of After the Rain. And we did that group for some time. But as you know, I mean, we're all pastors' kids, and the Lord had been dealing with us and calling us back home. And so our experience in the secular world doing the After the Rain, the R&B music, was short-lived because God was calling us to go in a different direction. The way we got the name Half Mile Home, actually, we were on our way home from a Coca-Cola tour that we were doing as After the Rain. And we were kind of just torn between whether we were doing what we needed to do or whether we were doing what God had called us to do. And so we were just having a conversation on our way home from that tour. It was a lot going on, and it just seemed like we were being pulled in different directions. And we had came to the conclusion that it was time to go gospel and do what God had called us to do. And we looked out the window, and we saw an exit that said half mile from Cleveland. And so we were like, you know what, man, when we get back to Cleveland, we changing it. We're going to do what God is calling us to do. And we said once we make that commitment, the name of the group is going to be Half Mile Home. Just from that exit sign, it kind of led us to naming the group Half Mile Home.
Okay, cool. That's interesting right there. So tell me about the transition from R&B into gospel music. How did that go?
Todd.
Yeah. Hey, how's it going? This is Ty Trax.
What's up?
Well, the transition, man, it wasn't hard because we actually come from, we have gospel roots, and like Q said, man, we were raised in church, so it wasn't a difficult transition. The only thing is, hey, man, I'm quite sure you know all the stuff that go on behind the scenes in the hip-hop and R&B world, man. That was, it kind of scared us anyway, the lifestyle and everything that go on, so, man, it was kind of easy for us to come back home, man. We wanted to because a lot of stuff that went on, man, we kind of went in the corners and looked at it like, hey, man, that shouldn't be happening, you know what I'm saying? So, we was more than glad, man, when God said, hey, fellas, come on back. We was like, woo, thank you, Jesus. You know what I'm saying? Because we wanted a career in singing. We're all good at what we do, and we wanted to do this professionally. So that's, you know, it was a very easy transition.
Okay, that's good to know. So your journey has been described as led to a predestined intersection of truth, strength, and unshakable faith. Why don't you guys break this down for my listeners?
Q.
Yeah, could you repeat that? Sorry, I didn't hear the whole question. If not,
No problem. I just read, I was reading about you. I read that your journey has been described as led to predestined intersection of truth, strength, and unshakable faith.
Absolutely.
Yeah, why don't you break this down? Like, what does this mean?
Just the first thing that comes to my mind when you say that is the single This Far. And
Okay.
a lot of times people ask us where that single came from, and that single comes from, if you listen to the verse, he didn't bring us this far to leave us. He didn't pick me up to let me down. You know what I mean? He didn't teach me to swim just to let me drown. It's one of them things where our testimony has been through our experience. Like I said, we've been with us for about 10 years, and so we've come a long way. We've experienced a lot, even with the first project, The Movement. That was 5 years ago. So over the course of that 5 years, you know, the devil and society and a lot of things happen in the economy, and it comes to the point where you just look in the mirror and you ask yourself, you know, is this going to ever manifest itself? God has always come through. He's always been faithful. He blessed us with the single This Far, and he blessed us with the album Changed My Life. And that single and that album speaks for itself as far as what we've gone through and where we're at now. We're to a point now where, you know, for God you live and for God you die. So it's just a matter of walking it and singing it.
Okay, that's good to know. How was it performing for the Fox 8 in the morning in your hometown? Yeah, actually, I saw a little bit of that. And I know you guys do gospel music, but your music is influenced with other things, like other elements of music. Why don't you let everybody know what your music is inspired from?
Yeah, it is. And truthfully, let the truth be told, is like We are church musicians, and we can play real traditional, you know what I mean? But that ain't where our heart is at. You know, we had to learn that coming up in church because that's what they wanted. But the thing about it is, man, when we went out there with Jodeci, it was a reason why God put us out there with the hip hop and the R&B people, man, because we were able to learn that flavor, and we were able to adapt that style of music that can draw the young folk into what we're doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like when it comes to our music and everything that we have, man, it's R&B influence because of a reason. You know what I mean? We have to have something that the young folk are like as well as the older folks. You know what I mean? It's that appeal. So that's, I mean, pretty much, man, that's where we at, man, and that's how, and like that's the sound that we really, really love. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the music is great, and yeah, you want to be relatable to everybody, right?
Right.
You better believe it.
Got you. All right, I have another question for you. Like, what big acts have you worked with, or just acts, period, have you been involved with in the music industry?
We work with, like I said, Jodeci, Genuine. We actually, on our first CD, Genuine worked with us like the whole project. And Devontae Swing, he produced it with a lot of us, you know what I mean? We work with Babyface, Kenny Evans, Tony. We work with a lot of cats out there right now.
Raphael Sadiq.
You better believe it. Raphael Sadiq, all them cats, man.
Woody Rock is a good close friend.
Yeah, I actually read some stuff about that. Like, do these people influence your career? Do they give you pointers or anything like that?
Well, yeah, they do, but it's to the extent of they all feel like y'all should have been there already. You know what I mean? Every time we talk to anybody that we've dealt with before, you know, the question is, man, what y'all didn't do? Man, y'all didn't do something right. And it's like, no, we didn't do something. It's not that we didn't do anything right. It's just God had a different route for us than what he had for you.
That.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
The music is definitely good. That's why I wanted to do the interview. I'm like, people need to hear these creations, you know?
Your boy Tight Tracks produced the whole album. Shout out to Tight Tracks.
Okay, shout out to you, Tight Tracks. And speaking about you producing the album, why don't you let me know everybody's role in the group?
Q, lead singer. We got Buttons, he's the lead singer. Deacon is the lead singer. Weezy is a bass player, co-producer. I'm a producer, background vocalist. Weezy is a background vocalist as well. But we got 3 lead singers. We got 3 strong lead singers, man. You know what I mean? And Half Mile Home, listen, man, to all the listeners, understand one thing about music. Listen, the older we get, we're going to keep pumping them out. Why? Because people still need to be encouraged. You know what I mean? Right. We're not going to stop. We ain't going to stop doing what we're doing. You know, sometimes, man, you'll get a good group and people are loving them and liking them. 2 years down, oh, yeah, they broke up. Nah, man. Half Mile Home is going to continue. Whether Q was doing it, even if Q was doing a solo project, it'll be Q and Half Mile Home right behind them. You know what I mean? We're going to keep this thing going forever, man. Why? Because it's not about us. It's all about him and helping someone change their life.
Right.
I hear you. Yes, and I know you mentioned Woody Rock just a second ago. Can you please explain to me the transition between Woody Rock and Q coming into the group?
Yeah, Woody Rock, this is Tight Tracks again. Woody Rock, me and Woody Rock is real good friends.
Okay.
When he I don't know if everybody knows, but when he broke off from Jodeci, when he Drew Hill, when he broke off from Drew Hill, man, he went and did a gospel CD and it didn't work out for him. Okay? Woody appeared on our first CD, The Movement, Half Mile Home, The Movement.
Okay, that was back in 2000.
Yeah, 2004. He did quite a few songs on there with us. So Woody called me about 2 years ago, and he's like, "Hey, Tight Tracks, man, listen, man. Hey, man, I like our vibe, boom, boom, boom. I like the way things are going." And it's like, I'm like, yeah, me too, man.
Yeah. All right, good to know. Like, where do you guys perform at? Where can people see you live? Are you guys touring right now?
Yeah, yep. We're actually going to be on going to New Orleans in a couple of weeks to do the Bobby Jones show.
Okay, cool. What kind of show is that down there?
It's the third annual Bobby Jones show in New Orleans. Third annual Bobby Jones show.
Okay. Now, where do you guys record at? Like, I know you guys talked a little bit about your single This Far. I'm going to get into that in a little bit, actually. Tell me a little bit about working on this track in the studio.
Run that past me one more time. You said the studio working out of?
Yeah, like, tell me how it was recording your new single.